Hey, it's Chef Evelyn here, and I am back with another video. And I'm keeping the frequently asked questions series going. I think there's going to be a total of like between 7 and 9 of these, I think. If you're not following me on Instagram, that's where I put up the poll and I put up a reel asking people to vote on the questions they wanted me to answer and what order. So that is what I'm doing. But I'm also filming a resource here for you on YouTube so that you can come back and reference it whenever you need to. So today I want to answer the question, how do you add a premium priced offer to your culinary business when you've already been offering things at a lower price point? Okay. So I know a lot of times I run into chefs who are like, I want to add something more high end. I want to add something a little bit more premium. You may not necessarily not want to, stop offering what you're currently offering, but you're like, yeah, I really want to have a place where I can be a little bit more extravagant, where I can, really put all my ideas into an offering. Maybe you want to do something a little bit more luxe. Maybe you want to do something a little bit more involved and creative, kind of flex your chef muscles a little bit, if you will. And you know that in order to do that, you're going to have to charge a premium price to make it make sense for your business. And so that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about what it takes to actually add a premium price offer to your culinary business in the event that you've already been selling your products and services at a lower bargain, affordable, which is very relative price point. Okay. So here's the thing, whether you intentionally wanted to create a lower end, and when I say lower end, I don't mean lower quality. I'm just saying like price point wise. So whether you intentionally or unintentionally wanted to create a more affordable bargain brand, that's kind of where your brand's been living. And, I know sometimes some chefs like really pride themselves on that they're not, super expensive or, charging an arm and leg and things like that. And, and so maybe that's been you. Maybe you've been, really proud of the fact that you're offering really quality products and services at a more accessible price point. Again, accessibility when it comes to pricing is relative, and you're just like, okay. But, there's been some things that come along with, that kind of brand and the dynamics between the clients that maybe you don't love, but, you're making decent money and, you like what you do. But you also have had to kind of pull things back a little bit in the creativity department, or maybe some of the types of ingredients that you want to use, just because you just don't have the financial margin in your price point when it comes to food costs and labor and all that kind of stuff to really do something a little bit more elaborate and a little bit more extravagant, right? And so you kind of feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, which is, okay, I've got this amazing business over here and, I've got good clientele and, it's working and, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Right. But then there's this desire to, create something a little bit more luxe, a little bit more premium, a little bit more high end. And, you may be concerned about alienating your current client base and potential customers. You may be concerned about, them being confused and it actually messing up what you've currently got going on. And you may even, feel like, am I going to lose revenue because people will think I have lost my mind because, it feels incongruent. Okay. And I want to say this, I find that happens a lot of times where it's like there's these two different worlds, because the reality is those are two different buyers. Okay. So the people who are currently patronizing your business, it's been wonderful. It's been great. And that they feel comfortable at that price point. If, however, you want to add a premium price product or service to your product suite, that is a different audience, right? That's a different buyer. And so a lot of times it's like, well, how do I market effectively? How do I offer simultaneously a lower priced offering and a more premium priced offering? And I will say this, you've seen this done before, right? So if you look around at other brands, there are a lot of companies who have a more premium priced product, and maybe that's what they lead with, but then they have a lower priced option. Sometimes, however, companies do this and you do not know that they're doing it. So they have their brand name option, and then they have what they call private label or white label options. But I think one of the most obvious ones is if you think about like outlet stores, right? So let's take a brand like Coach or Kate Spade. Some would consider probably not luxury, but higher end, mid tier. It's not a Zara bag. It's not a Target bag, but it's not a Chanel bag, right? So it's somewhere in the middle. But some would consider a somewhat nicer bag, right? And they have their flagship options, which you can buy at the Coach store and at at retailers that sell Coach. But then most people think that, the stuff that they don't sell goes into their outlets. Well, that's not really true. What really happens is they have created an additional product line, okay, for a slightly lower price point to offer to people who still want to engage with the brand of Coach, but who may not be willing to pay their premium priced offer. And so what I would say to you is that if you want to add a premium price offering to your business, you're going to have to create a premium price brand around that offer. Because what you cannot do is take that premium price offer and stick it into your more accessible price point brand and think that it's just going to work seamlessly. It's not, because A, 2 different buyers, B, 2 different ways of marketing it, C, 3 different ways of communicating about it, right? What people want out of that higher ticket offer is going to be very different than what people want out of your more accessible price point. And what you don't want to happen is for your current clientele to look at that higher offer and go, well, I want that, but at this price, at the lower price point, right? So you don't want to do that either, because that would just create frustration. It would just create confusion. It might create buyer's remorse, and we definitely want that, because buyer's remorse is a hard thing to recover from. I was just saying recently on a Instagram live that I did, I was like, if you make a mistake in your business, let's say like you get somebody's order wrong, right? Like if let's say you order something from Amazon and or let me take that back. Let's say you order something from like a clothing place, right? And they sent you the wrong size, right? And well, you didn't like it, and okay, I had to send it back and they had to give me the right size. You may not write off the brand. However, if you ordered something from that brand and it was the right size and it was what you ordered, and when you got it, you think about what you paid for it and what you actually got, and you don't like what you got, not because it didn't fit or the size was wrong, because that's nothing wrong with quality, nothing wrong with that, but like maybe the quality of the product wasn't the same, it wasn't what you thought it was going to be, or maybe it didn't look in person the way it looked on the website. Now you have buyer's remorse, because there's a difference between buyer's remorse and, a company just made a mistake, right? And so you do not want that to happen. So I would not suggest just going, okay, I'm going to add this premium price offer to my more accessible price point brand. It is not linear that way. You just can't connect the dots like that. You have to create a high-end culinary brand around that offer. Now, what that means is you can create a high-end culinary brand around a lower ticket offer, right? Which means you'll be upgrading it. You don't have to change the price, but you'll be upgrading it. And a great example of a company that offers elements of a high-end culinary brand at a more accessible price point is Chick-fil-A. Right? Now they are premium priced in their class, meaning they are definitely premium priced for fast food. If you've ever been to Chick-fil-A, you'd be like, I feel like I went to a sit-down restaurant, like a fast casual sit-down restaurant, but this was the drive-thru, right? They're definitely premium priced in their class, in their category, but they're giving you elements, not 100%, but they're giving you elements of a high-end culinary brand at a lower price point. So either way, no matter how you slice it, no matter how you dice it, no pun intended, if you want to add a premium price offer to your current business model, and your current business model is at a more accessible price point, you're going to have to create a high-end culinary brand around it. And so here's 3 things that you need to consider when it comes to creating that high-end culinary brand. Number one, you need to know what goes into a high-end culinary brand. What's the formula? What's the framework, right? If you've watched any of my previous videos, I talk about that a high-end culinary brand or being able to charge more premium prices is not the luck of the draw. You don't just grab a number out of the sky, okay? You simply follow the formula. Okay, it's repeatable. This is why there are so many high-end and luxury brands. It's not a secret, it's a formula, right? So just like when it comes to wanting to create a recipe that you've seen, if someone gives you the recipe and the ingredients and the amounts and the instructions and any special tips and tricks that you need to execute that recipe, you can duplicate what they have. So when it comes to creating a high-end culinary brand, you can have that for yourself. And you know this when you cook. Once you know the recipe, then you can start to play with the ingredients and play with the proportions and kind of make it your own. Now, so that's the first thing you need to consider is that, okay, do I even know what needs to go into a high-end culinary brand that's going to set this offer up that I want to offer up for success? Okay. Then the next thing is that you really need to understand the high-end culinary buyer, because this is a different buyer. This is a different mindset than your current clientele. Not better, not worse, just different. There are a group of people who are willing to pay more for your culinary and products and services, but they're not motivated by the same things that someone who's motivated by a lower price point are. Okay, so you really need to understand the psychographics of a high-end culinary buyer. A lot of times people are like, well, where do I find, these buyers? And I'm like, they're everywhere. They're not in one specific location. And I'm going to keep saying this until it really sinks into your brain. They're not in one specific location. They are everywhere. So this is not about demographics. This is about psychographics. This is why do they buy the way that they do? Why are they willing to spend a little bit more? Why doesn't it bother them, right? Why is price not the determining factor for them? Okay. And then you also need to have a high-end culinary brand blueprint. What are the step-by-step strategies that you need to take to transition your brand in particular to a high-end culinary brand? What comes first? What order does it go in, right? Imagine if I just gave you the recipe and said, here's the ingredients, go make it. And I didn't say, well, actually the night before you need to marinate this. And I know that's not on the recipe, but you need to do that. And for you specifically, because, your oven's not calibrated, you need to do it like this. You need a step-by-step blueprint on how to build the high-end culinary brand, because just trying to go out and increase your prices, I've seen it happen time and time again. It does not go over well. Okay. If you're just trying to willy-nilly increase your prices because you've watched one of my videos and you got hype and you're like, yep, I'm about to go increase my prices. It's like, you may make some sales and you may get some people, but the question is, are they coming back? Right? Are they telling their friends and family about your products and services? Are they repeat clients? Okay. Or do they go, oh, wow, your prices are higher than I thought they were going to be? Or are they trying to negotiate you? Right. So, or do they say, never mind, when you tell them your newly increased prices? And it's because you do not have the high-end culinary brand in place to support the prices that you are asking. So if you're like, yes, I want to add a premium offer to my business, and I know that I need to build a high-end culinary brand to go with it, I need to understand the buyer, and I need to have my own blueprint, you should absolutely register for the upcoming High-End Culinary Brand Intensive. And it's where I'm going to take you through in one whole phase. We're going to just focus on the elements of a high-end culinary brand, what makes it different than a standard brand, so that you can understand the difference between where you are and where you want to go, right? So that you can kind of create a path to get there, so that you, no matter what you want to create down the line, right, you will always know this formula and you can implement it to your business from today until forever, right? It's one of those things that once you learn it, you can't unlearn it. You can't unsee it. And as a matter of fact, the structure in which I teach the high-end culinary brand formula is actually applicable to any business. So if you wake up one day and you decide that you don't want to be in food anymore, you want to go into a candle making business, you can take these same principles into a candle making business, right? To any other business. And then we're going to spend a completely different section and a completely different amount of time just really focus on the high-end buyer, okay? What is the psychology of that person? What is the mindset of that person? How do you communicate with them directly and indirectly? How do you attract them to your business? Because a lot of times it's like, how do I get these higher buyers? I'm getting these more accessible buyers. How do I communicate with them? How do I close the sale? Right, on someone who's willing to pay a more premium price point. And then also, which I think is probably one of the most important sections in the High-End Culinary Brand Intensive, is I take you through a brand audit where you can see where the gap is between your current brand and a high-end culinary brand, right? We're going to take that formula, we're going to take the framework, we're going to take the blueprint, and we're going to compare it step by step, each phase of a high-end culinary brand to your business, so you can go, okay, I'm doing pretty good right here. All I need to do is change this. This is an area that's completely non-existent. I need to add this to my business, so on and so forth. Okay, so when you're done, you have a clear understanding of the high-end culinary brand formula. You have a deep understanding of the high-end culinary buyer. And then you leave with a tangible action plan of, this is what I now need to go do. This is step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on and so forth. So if you're like, yes, Evelyn, I absolutely want to go through that, I need to know because I really want to add this more premium price offer to my business, then head on over to highendculinarybrand.com, reserve your seat at the table, if you will, okay, and register for the intensive, and I will see you in my next video. Peace.